Hi, friends. I'm so excited. I have such a good word for you today. And yeah, I'm just so excited to share it with you. So, I am in a big season of transition right now. I am preparing to move across the world and live in a foreign country. And I've been reflecting a lot and I've just been thinking a lot about my life here, especially how my life has been for the last 5 or 6 years or so, really, since I've started my faith journey. And yeah, I was just reflecting and really thinking about how this past season, which has been about 5 years, has been really hard and really difficult, and how I am coming out on the other side of it. And it just really dawned on me, this massive epiphany. And that's what I'm going to share with you guys today. But before we really get into that, I want to give you a little bit of backstory and context. So I love change, which I know is not normal. I feel like a lot of people don't really like change, but I love change. I think it's exciting and I get bored when things stay the same. I have called myself a serial job hopper because I have never stayed at a job longer than 2 years. And I just celebrated 2 years at the current job I have, which is my own business, and I'm in control of everything. And no, I definitely don't work 40 hours a week. So, probably why I've been able to stick it out as long as I have. So, what I have realized is change has always been my way of trying to find contentment and peace and fulfillment within my life, but it never really has panned out that way. I have really lived a lot of different lives. I've lived in a couple different states. I lived in a van and traveled. I traveled to South Korea last year. I have done all of these different life changes, and I've worked in a lot of different job industries as well. And usually around the 6 month mark, I start getting antsy. I start getting either bored or I start getting really bad anxiety because of the familiarity, can't even say that word, of how things are. And I know that that doesn't really make sense, but because a lot of people get anxious and fearful when big changes come, like doing a big move or starting a new business or getting married or starting a new relationship, having a baby, all of those things, which rightfully so. And I won't lie and say I haven't had any anxiety or fear, because of course I have. I'm human. But the like the desire, or the thing that I really just love that lights me on fire, is the change itself. And I actually get more anxiety when I've been in the same routine for too long. I have to change it up, whether that's changing where I live or what I'm doing for work or who's in my life, even. And it's just strange. I start feeling really trapped, and that anxiety comes forth. So, like I was saying, I've reflected a lot on this as I'm starting a brand new life, because it is really, truly a brand new life. I will be going to school for the first time in many, many years, and in a classroom setting that was very different than my college experience. I will be living in a foreign country where I do not speak the language. The customs are totally different. I'll be living in one of the biggest cities in the world, one of the most populated cities in the world. The weather is different. It's super dry where I live right now. And it is so humid where I'm going, which I'm terrified for. And of course, I'll be leaving my friends, my family, my cat, like my whole community here that I have built over the past 5 or so years, and some of these friendships extending far beyond that time frame. And as I've been reflecting on why I like change and why I have used change as this form of like trying to find that peace and contentment, it really dawned on me. Living in alignment with God is the true way and the only way to find contentment in your life. Living apart from Jesus only brings disappointment, boredom, and can even really be harmful. That's my big epiphany I had. See, my life has not changed yet. It is very much the same in terms of what I've been doing for the past couple years, where I've been living, all of that stuff. But I have been living in alignment with God in this last year on like a new level. And because of that, I am finding that peace, that contentment, that joy, the fulfillment in my life that I could never find before, no matter how many times I changed spaces. So I was never aligned with God the way I am now. True contentment, true fulfillment, true and lasting joy and love for life only comes when I am living in full alignment with God and am choosing wholeheartedly to walk on the path that He's destined for me. I mean, mic drop. Okay, that was really dorky. Anyway, what am I trying to say? Worldly contentment doesn't last. The world entices us and promises us with things like money and travel. Those are two of my biggest idols, and literally manifesting whatever we want. But those things don't actually give us lasting peace or joy or security. Sure, they work for a little while, but they don't last. And when we are living life on our own terms and just literally doing whatever the F we want, like, it just isn't sustainable. We cannot sustain our own happiness, right? Like, what happens? Like, how do you react when bad things happen and you're carrying everything on your own? When we are just living by ourselves and like shit really hits the fan, somebody dies, or we lose all of our money, or we get really sick, or we manifest this dream life that really actually isn't that fulfilling, and we're just left with disappointment. Like, how do you navigate through those situations if you don't have God? You don't. A lot of times people crumble. People will build empires and they will fall away like blowing on a house of cards because there's no true strong foundation. They have put their worth and their value into everything they are doing and everything they are accumulating in the external world, because again, that's what the world promises us. Like, if you're just good enough, if you do enough work, if you make this much money, if you have the house and the hot husband and the cute kids and the really nice car that you post on Instagram, then you'll be happy and content. And my friends, that is just a lie. It is not true. Yes, things like money do bring security. Things like travel do bring joy, but it is not that lasting, true, grounded sense of like really being okay and overall enjoying your life the way that it feels when you are walking with Jesus. Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. That's a Bible verse. I can't remember which one, but I will drop it in the description or post it as text or something when I look it up again. But having a relationship with Him is the only way to experience long-lasting contentment. And how do I know this? Because I'm experiencing it right now. Like I touched on before, my life hasn't changed yet. Like, I'm about to be living my dream life, but it hasn't changed yet. And I am still the happiest that I have ever been, truly, because my heart has changed. It isn't anything external. It is what has happened on the internal. So what really changed within myself? Well, I stopped trying to make everything happen on my own. I have been notorious for this. Even as a lifelong believer, I never really tapped into the power of the Holy Spirit or like really realized that God is really with me every step of the way, and He wants me to rely on His strength, not my own. I have just always stressed and strived and worried about how things would go and like attached myself to desired outcomes so deeply and like worked really, really hard and hustled and self-sacrificed over and over and over again. And it got me nowhere. So earlier this year, I just decided, okay, God, I surrender to your plan for my life, and I am going to do what you call me to do, no matter what, even if it's uncomfortable, even if I don't want to do it. I trust you, Lord. Even when I don't trust you, I'm choosing to trust you. And what has happened is this internal shift. The feelings that I have been chasing my whole life of contentment and fulfillment are now here. Not because of anything I did, besides choosing to do what I didn't do, like choosing to surrender and follow God's plan for my life. Aligning my life with God really improved my mental health because I wasn't constantly stressing out all the time. And I still have stress. I still have struggles. Like, that's a disclaimer. I still deal with negative emotions and still deal with problems, but because I've aligned my life with God's will, with God's plan, with what God is telling me to do, I have so much more power that comes from God that enables me to move through those negative emotions better, to process them in a more healthy way, to like just navigate life from a more easeful place, knowing that I am taken care of by the creator of the universe. And he is a God who is good on his promises. And he has promised me some wild things in my life. And he's going to come through with them because I trust him, because I'm living in alignment with him. As the months have gone on in 2025, I've really started to get my joy back, something that I thought I had lost for forever. I started to get my energy back, and I really started to feel excited about the work I was doing. And I'm not talking about work that was making me money. I'm talking about work that God is calling me to do. Like the video you're watching right now. This is something God has told me to do and share. And it took me a while to realize what this was. Like, I am walking in purpose. I am aligned with God. I am living out the life God has designed for me. How crazy is that, honestly? Like, that we can have deep relationship with the creator, and not only will he heal us and help us with our struggles and trials and make us into better people, like he also brings us to this new state in life where we are experiencing true contentment, true peace because of the closeness we have with him. But the biggest thing that I wish I could go back and redo, and this is kind of advice for anybody who is thinking about answering God's call, or you're feeling like you're being pursued by the Holy Spirit and you can feel it and you've been resisting. Don't resist. I wish I hadn't wasted so much time disobeying God, because I really did. I really struggled with the calling and the purpose that God had placed on my life. I struggled to do the most basic things, like even starting my blog 4 years ago now, which is crazy. Like I cried every step of the way. I was so afraid of what bad things could happen. Like my fears were just coming out, and I just constantly fought God on that. Like that's just one example, but in all areas of my life, God would tell me, don't date that person. Spend more time in this area working on your healing. Start this creative venture, whatever these little things were. Like go back home and live with your parents, and don't focus so much on money, and all of these things. And the whole time I was wrestling with myself, wrestling with my fleshly desires, constantly falling into temptation, and just like succumbing to it, choosing the the tempting route, and sometimes just blatantly disobeying God. When God said, like, you need to let that person go, I continued to stay with that person for weeks, longer than I should have. And it really is just like such a waste of time, because I think, and there's no way to know this, but this again is just a reflection in my life thus far. I think had I really obeyed God wholeheartedly and said, okay, I'm scared, but I'm going to do it anyway because I trust you more than I'm afraid, like I would be so much farther along in certain areas of my life right now, in areas where it just kind of feels like it matters more. And like, had I made certain choices in obedience to God and trusting God, certain areas of my life would be affected by that. And like, then there would actually be less stress in other areas. Like everything's connected. I don't feel like really going into the details right now, but don't waste time disobeying God and going back and forth with your feelings. And here's another disclaimer. Your feelings matter. Your opinion matters. Your desires matter. What you want matters. How your emotions are and what you're really thinking about a situation that God is calling you to do matters. Even the negative emotions, even if you don't want to do it, all of that matters. And also, God still wants you to do it, but he's never going to force you to. And so again, in church culture and Christian culture, there's really this vibe of like, well, just give all your negative emotions to God, or like pray against it, and it's spiritual warfare, and like just give everything to him, and like, I don't know, kind of like talk down to the devil, and like don't give the devil a foothold. And all of this is very true. And maybe that message resonates with you, and that's amazing. However, for me, it felt super invalidating to just say, oh, give your negative emotions to God and he'll take care of it. And like, always be grateful and always be humble. And like, I'm like, yeah, but I'm fucking scared right now. I'm scared of what will happen when I step out in faith and do this. So my last video, I actually talked about bringing your negative emotions to God and how you can process them with Him in a healthy way, how He wants to know all of your emotions, how you shouldn't hide any of them from God, because when you do that, those emotions are actually going to keep you from God and like drive you even farther away from your true life path, like from what God is really calling you to do. So don't be afraid to be mad at God or tell Him that you're really scared or tell Him that you don't want to do it. Like bring all of that to Him and He will help you process those things in a healthy way so you can move forward together. Because I really let my negative emotions and my like not wanting to do certain things keep me from God. And ultimately, that just harmed me because it kept me stuck longer in this season of stagnancy. So that pretty much so that wraps up this video. Basically, moral of the story is the true peace, true contentment, happiness, joy, love, abundance, all of those positive desires that you are striving for in this life, they can only come from a life that is fully aligned and living with God, walking out the purpose He has for you, listening to His guidance, obeying and trusting Him, even when it doesn't make sense. And oh boy, I know it's hard because God has had me in a crazy faith season right now, but I'm still choosing to trust Him and believe that things will pan out, even if I don't understand the reasons why. Like, not only are they happening for my benefit, they are affecting other people, which it's not really even about me. It's not about you. Like, God's purpose for your life, there's so much more to it than just you getting what you want. That was a tangent. Sorry, circling it back. But those feelings that we are constantly striving for in terms of like trying to make enough money or travel or like build this life for ourselves, none of those things matter if they're not aligned with God. And that true peace, true contentment, and fulfillment really comes when you surrender your desires, detach from what you're wanting, and choose the path that Jesus is guiding you on. So, what does it look like to live aligned with the Lord? Stay tuned for the next video, and we will really dive into what that actually looks like so you can take some practical steps and apply them in your own life and your faith walk. As always, like this video, subscribe for more content, share it, comment, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.